youth employment a lot. I've been working on youth guarantee, on European Social Fund with various reports, but also integration of migrants, of refugees, and especially young ones into society and labor market. Their social contributions, for example, for their future pension, will not be lost. We need a real single market also of the rights of workers and people. So this is one big field I've been working on. The other one is the foreign affairs of the Mediterranean. I've been very active on working, for example, now I'm shadow rapporteur for international agreement with Tunisia, but I've been very active also on Israel and Palestine, on Egypt, etc. It's very important to work with the Mediterranean countries. Then I've been working a lot on disability issues. I know we will also talk more about this. I've been working on youth policies in general, the mobility of young people, for example, strengthening the Erasmus program with more possibilities for new and different kind of young people with different career paths, with different education to participate in mobility projects. And also last thing to mention as my field of activity and my objective is working on the digital society, on the digital changes that we are experiencing. I think that we need to build a real digital literacy to be real conscious digital citizens, not to avoid being manipulated, not just to be ready for work, because this is obvious, you need some skills. We are working on the new skills agenda as European Parliament to be competitive in a changing world of labor, but it's also an issue of citizenship. I worked a lot at local level on the topic, and then when I became a member of European Parliament, I thought it was natural for me to continue at this new level, this commitment. Disabled people are not considered anymore as people with an interest to bring on the table of negotiations. They are bringing human rights. Their rights are enshrined in the convention and are human rights, and so they cannot be constrained by budget requirements. This is really a revolution that we still have to really work on. Also, one big issue is the Accessibility Act that we are now going to negotiate at level of the negotiations with Council. Most of the market, most of the production in many fields, banking, computers, digital services, transport, they must be accessible, they must be ready for the millions of disabled people in EU. I think it's never enough, to be frank. Obviously, we can always do more, and some parts of the text, unfortunately, are a bit weak. But to be frank, there was a very big fight inside the European Parliament, because when it's the moment to make everyone happy in conferences, in meetings outside the voting moment, everyone is in favor of the rights of people with disabilities. But then when you have to vote and you have to choose if you want to defend the profit of a few against the rights of all, then some people choose the profit of a few. In general, my evaluation is that the Accessibility Act is very good in this text. My worry now as a parliamentarian is how much the member states could try to reduce its scope. Well, my colleague Helge Stevens is a very committed and great colleague working on these issues. We have been cooperating on many things, and also on the disability strategy, which is another one of the priorities for us, for the disability intergroup, in the work with the European Disability Forum, with all the stakeholders. So very important act that you mentioned, a strategy that is fundamental to understand how to better use all the instruments that we have, including the funds. I think money is always important when we talk about policies for inclusion. I think we should not talk about that now for one reason, because we need for the strategy until 2020 and the spillover that we want from this strategy, at least for the few next years after 2020, so until 2023-24, when we talk about funds, this also is very, very obvious, because sometimes it seems to me that the EU is saying what we will do in 2040 because they are not really deciding the right things on what to do until 2020. We need it to work now, and so let's make this one work and then we will think of 2030.